To hear all our audiobooks, especially those that aren't available on YouTube, become a Patreon supporter. It's the first link in the description below. Thank you for your support. The Governance of China, Volume 4 by Xi Jinping. Whole Process People's Democracy. Heighten the sense of national identity and improve the party's work on ethnic affairs in the new era. Main points of the speech at the Central Conference on Ethnic Affairs. August 27, 2021. It is imperative to accurately understand and fully implement our party's guidelines on ethnic affairs and strengthen and improve this work in the new era, with the goal of reinforcing the sense of the Chinese nation as one community. We need to take a Chinese approach to ethnic issues, build a cultural home shared by the Chinese nation, enhance interactions, exchanges, and integration among all ethnic groups, accelerate modernization in areas with large ethnic minority populations, strengthen law-based governance of ethnic affairs, and prevent and resolve major risks and hidden threats in ethnic affairs. We should improve the quality of our ethnic work in the new era and mobilize the whole party and all the people to work together for the second centenary goal of building China into a great modern socialist country in all respects. The history of our party shows that our greatest achievement in ethnic work is that we have adopted a Chinese approach to ethnic issues. Since the policy of reform and opening up was introduced in 1978, particularly since the 18th CPC National Congress in 2012, the party has emphasized that the Chinese nation is one family and one single community, and that we should heighten this shared identity. We have consistently implemented the party's theories and policies concerning ethnic groups while adapting to the changing times. Thus, we have gained valuable experience in properly understanding and handling ethnic issues. The party has established a set of important principles on strengthening and improving ethnic work, which can be summarized as follows. First, we must make national rejuvenation our principal goal, understand the historic significance of ethnic work in the new era from the strategic perspective of national rejuvenation, and take a holistic approach to planning and advancing it to serve the purpose. Second, we must make it a major task for the new era to motivate all ethnic groups to build China into a modern, socialist country in all respects, and ensure all ethnic groups strive in unity to achieve shared prosperity and common development. Third, with a focus on heightening the sense of national identity, we must cultivate in all ethnic groups a growing sense of identity with the home country, the Chinese nation, the Chinese culture, the Communist Party of China, and Chinese socialism, and continue to build the Chinese nation into a strong community. Fourth, we must develop a good understanding of the history of our nation and strengthen the sense of identity with and pride in the Chinese nation. Fifth, we must uphold the equality of all ethnic groups and see to it that they are the masters of the country and participate in the management of state affairs, and that their legitimate rights and interests are protected. Sixth, we must uphold the unity of the Chinese nation and ensure all ethnic groups remain closely united like the seeds of a pomegranate. Seventh, we must uphold and improve the system of regional ethnic autonomy, ensure the effective implementation of the Central Committee's policies and decisions, and of state laws and regulations, and support ethnic groups in their economic development and all-round improvement towards common prosperity. Eighth, we must build a cultural home shared by the Chinese nation, creating a shared bond among all ethnic groups, and inspiring them to move forward in unity and interdependence. Ninth, we must promote interactions, exchanges, and integration among all ethnic groups and reinforce their affinity and unity in terms of ideals, convictions, mindset, and culture, so that they will support each other, like brothers and sisters. 10th, we must manage ethnic affairs in accordance with the law, and actively modernize our system and capacity for handling ethnic affairs. 11th, we must resolutely safeguard our national sovereignty, security, and development interests, and encourage, through education and guidance, all ethnic groups to carry forward the patriotic tradition and consciously safeguard the unity of the country, national security, and social stability. 12th, we must uphold the party's leadership over work related to ethnic affairs and increase our ability and performance in handling ethnic affairs. These important ideas come from our party's theoretical and practical work with ethnic communities and constitute a set of fundamental principles governing ethnic work in the new era. The whole party must understand them thoroughly and implement them in full and to the letter. In the new era, the party's top priority in managing ethnic affairs is to reinforce our sense of national identity. This is to help people of all ethnic groups develop an awareness of the Chinese nation as one community of shared future, in which everyone shares the rough times and the smooth together. Having a stronger sense of national identity is essential to defending the fundamental interests of all ethnic groups. Only with this sense rooted in our mind can we build a solid cultural Great Wall for safeguarding national unity and ethnic solidarity, pool efforts of all ethnic groups to defend national security and maintain social stability, and effectively combat infiltration of extremist and separatist ideas and subversion. This is the only way for people to fulfill their expectation for a better life and to realize, protect, and develop the fundamental interests of all ethnic groups. This sense of national identity is essential to realizing national rejuvenation. Only with this sense rooted in our mind can we effectively address any risks and challenges that may arise in ethnic affairs on our journey towards national rejuvenation and guarantee the long-term prosperity and stability of the party and the country. This sense of national identity is essential to consolidating and developing socialist ethnic relations based on equality, solidarity, mutual aid, and harmony. Only with this sense rooted in our mind can people of all ethnic groups develop a strong sense of belonging to the Chinese nation. Only then can we lay a solid foundation for closer ethnic relations and to make the Chinese nation a more cohesive community of shared future. This sense of national identity is essential to making new advances in the party's work related to ethnic affairs. We should adapt to the changing times and improve our ethnic work by balancing commonality and diversity, and by accommodating ethnic and regional factors with a view to increasing commonality. Only by doing so can we manage ethnic affairs properly and efficiently and deliver concrete results. To manage ethnic affairs innovatively, we must continue to apply measures that have been proved to be sound and adjust those which are outdated to better protect the legitimate rights and interests of all ethnic groups. We need to properly understand the relationship between commonality and diversity that exist among ethnic people. One of the important principles in managing ethnic affairs is to promote commonalities on the one hand and accommodate differences on the other. We need to properly understand the relationship between the sense of national identity and that of ethnic identity. It is necessary to guide people of all ethnic groups to always put the interests of the Chinese nation first. Ethnic identity should be subordinate and subscribed to the sense of national identity. However, while ensuring the overall interests of the Chinese nation, we must ensure the specific interests of each ethnic group. Both Han chauvinism and regional ethnic chauvinism are detrimental to the building of the Chinese nation as one community. We need to properly understand the relationship between Chinese culture and cultures of individual ethnic groups. The fine cultures of the latter constitute an integral part of the former. Chinese culture is like the trunk of a tree, while individual ethnic cultures are branches and leaves. Only when the roots are deep and the trunk is strong can the branches and leaves grow well. We need to properly understand the relationship between material needs and cultural life. Our reform and development should serve the goals of reinforcing the sense of national identity, safeguarding unity, opposing division, improving the well-being of the people, and gathering extensive support so as to make our nation a strong community. Reinforcing our sense of national identity is the fundamental principle for our work concerning ethnic affairs in the new era and the focus of all activities in this regard. We should build a cultural home shared by the whole Chinese nation. While studying the history of the CPC, the PRC, reform and opening up, and the development of socialism, we need to work on two specific fronts. One, we must sum up our party's century-long experience in ethnic affairs and further study the important ideas on strengthening and improving this work. Two, we must strengthen education on modern civilization by pressing forward with initiatives to improve social conduct and ethical standards and foster a new generation, well-tuned to the new era. We will guide people of all ethnic groups to upgrade their vision and ideas and to modernize their cultural pursuits and lifestyle. We should popularize the standard spoken and written Chinese language, while at the same time protecting the spoken and written languages of all ethnic groups as well as their rights to study and use their own languages. We will work to lead all ethnic groups towards socialist modernization. We need to improve differentiated policies to support regional development and promote further reform and opening up in ethnic minority areas so that they will build greater capacity for self-development based on such factors as their natural resources, development conditions, and comparative strengths. Ethnic minority areas need to find the best sector to start the reform and the right point for concerted effort. From there, they should apply themselves to understanding and taking advantage of the new development stage, implementing the new development philosophy, integrating into the new development dynamic, achieving quality development, and promoting common prosperity. We need to increase support for infrastructure construction and industrial restructuring in ethnic minority areas, optimize overall plans for social and economic development and eco-environmental progress there, and ensure that the people of all ethnic groups have a greater sense of gain, fulfillment, and security. We need to help all ethnic minority areas to effectively consolidate the results of poverty alleviation in tandem with rural revitalization, to achieve more efficient and higher quality development of agriculture and animal husbandry, to build the countryside into a pleasant place to live and work, and to provide farmers and herdsmen with a prosperous and happy life. We need to improve the policies for developing and opening up border regions and advance the campaigns aimed at ensuring their stability, reviving their economy, and bringing prosperity to their inhabitants. We should promote interactions, exchanges, and integration among all ethnic groups. It is essential that we give full consideration to the specific conditions of different ethnic groups and regions. Coordinate urban and rural construction, planning, and allocation of public service resources, improve relevant policies and measures, foster a favorable social atmosphere, and gradually realize an all-round integration of all ethnic groups in terms of space, culture, economy, society, and ethos. We should initiate innovative and meaningful activities in multiple forms to promote unity and progress for all ethnic groups. We should put in place a mechanism for regular education on strengthening the sense of national identity incorporated into the education of officials, party members, and all citizens, and make it a society-wide education and communication program. We will modernize our system and capacity for governing ethnic affairs. We should create and implement differentiated policies to address specific problems or concerns in specific regions in light of the local conditions and needs of specific ethnic groups and based on the principle of fairness and justice. These policies should be targeted and should respect regional differences. We must protect the lawful rights and interests of all ethnic groups, properly handle cases or incidents involving ethnic factors, combat all kinds of criminal acts in accordance with the law, and ensure equality of all before the law. We must resolutely protect against major risks and hidden threats in ethnic affairs. We must defend our ideological positions, actively and prudently handle political issues involving ethnic factors, and constantly work to eliminate harmful influences, calling for ethnic separatism, and inciting religious extremism. We should strengthen international cooperation against terrorism and effectively conduct the anti-terrorism work in cooperation with key countries and regions, international organizations, and ethnic minority Chinese overseas. Stronger and better overall leadership by the party is the fundamental political guarantee of success in work related to ethnic affairs in the new era. Party committees at all levels should strengthen their commitment to the four consciousnesses, the four-sphere confidence, and the two upholds. They should constantly strengthen their political acumen, understanding, and capacity to deliver, always keep in mind the fundamental interests of the country, and conscientiously fulfill their principal responsibilities. We should ensure the leadership of the party in handling all matters concerning ethnic affairs. A mechanism for the party's ethnic work in the new era will be put in place in which the government manages ethnic affairs under the leadership of the party committee in accordance with the law, with the United Front Department of the party playing a coordinative role, the Ethnic Affairs Department of the government taking up the responsibility for ethnic affairs with due diligence, all other party and government departments acting in concert, and the whole society being involved. We should strengthen the primary level offices for ethnic affairs and their staffing to ensure that they function properly and ethnic affairs are effectively handled. We will build a team of competent public servants in ethnic minority areas in accordance with the qualification requirements for public servants in the new era, and ensure that the management of ethnic affairs at all levels is in the hands of those who unswervingly uphold the centralized, unified leadership of the party, take a firm stance on major issues of principle, act decisively to reinforce the sense of national identity, and show genuine compassion and care for all ethnic groups. We must ensure that the leadership at all levels is in the hands of officials who are loyal, honest, and responsible. It is of critical importance that attention and care are given to public servants working on the front line of disadvantaged regions. We must attract more competent personnel into this work. We should pay special attention to the training and selection of ethnic minority people. Trust them fully and assign important posts to those outstanding ones with a firm political stance and the courage to shoulder responsibilities. We need to strengthen the government at the primary level in ethnic minority areas so that the party's theories and policies concerning ethnic groups are correctly understood and fully implemented at the grassroots. Uphold and improve the People's Congress system. Part of the speech at the Central Conference on the Work of People's Congresses, October 13th, 2021. The People's Congress system operates under the leadership of the CPC, and in conformity with the basic tenets of Marxist theory of the state. It is designed to support the state system of people's democratic dictatorship and effectively ensures that China advances along the path of socialism. Under this system, all power of the state belongs to the people to guarantee their status as masters of the country. The system also ensures the party leadership status, the people's principal position, and law-based governance, thereby bringing an end to the cycle of rise and fall characteristic of the imperial dynasties in Chinese history. Under this system, major political relationships that are essential to the nation's future are properly managed, all social undertakings advance under the effective and unified organization of the state, national unity and ethnic solidarity remain strong, and vigor, stability, and order prevail in the country's political life. Since the 18th CPC National Congress in 2012, the Central Committee has implemented a national rejuvenation strategy against a backdrop of global change on a scale unseen in a century. Taking into account these strategic requirements to uphold and improve party leadership and consolidate the system of socialism with Chinese characteristics, it has continued to break new ground in the theory and practice of the People's Congress system and proposed a new vision, new thinking, and new requirements, which are focused on the following. First, we must uphold CPC leadership. We must uphold the core role of the party in exercising overall leadership and coordinating the efforts of all sides, uphold the authority of the party central committee and its centralized unified leadership, and ensure that the party's theories, guidelines, principles, policies, decisions, and plans are fully and effectively implemented in the work of the state. We should provide support to agencies of state power and ensure that they carry out their work in accordance with the Constitution and the law and in an active, independent, and coordinated manner. We must strengthen and improve party leadership, turn the party's views into the will of the state through legal procedures, ensure that candidates recommended by party organizations will become leaders of agencies of state power, exercise party leadership over the country and society through agencies of state power, and maintain the authority of both the party and the state, and the solidarity within the party and across the country. Second, we must provide institutional safeguards to ensure that the people run the country. We must remain committed to a people-centered approach, uphold the principle that all power of the state belongs to the people, and support and ensure the people's exercise of state power through people's congresses. We should improve democracy, create more forms of democracy, expand channels for democracy, and ensure the people's equal right to participation in governance and in development, so as to promote a whole process people's democracy that is broader, fuller, and more robust. Third, we must ensure that every dimension of governance is law-based. We must follow a path and develop a system of socialist rule of law with Chinese characteristics and build a socialist country under the rule of law. We should carry forward the spirit of socialist rule of law, advance all undertakings and initiatives of the country in accordance with the Constitution and the law, safeguard social equity and justice, respect and protect human rights, and bring all the work of the country under the rule of law. Fourth, we must uphold democratic centralism. We must ensure that the people exercise state power in a unified manner through people's congresses, that people's congresses at all levels are formed through democratic elections, and that they are accountable to the people and subject to their oversight. Administrative, supervisory, adjudicatory, and prosecuting offices at all levels must be created by people's congresses, and be accountable to them and subject to their oversight. There must be an appropriate division of work as well as mutual coordination between decision-making, executive, and oversight powers. State agencies must exercise their powers and perform their duties within the scope of their statutory authority and procedures. Local authorities must demonstrate their initiative and enthusiasm under the unified leadership of the Party Central Committee, and all undertakings must advance under the unified and effective organization of the state. Fifth, we must keep to the path of socialist political development with Chinese characteristics. It is essential that we uphold the unity of party leadership, the people's status as masters of the country, and law-based governance of the country. Of these, party leadership is of the paramount importance. The system of people's congresses is a fundamental political system established to guarantee the implementation of these principles. It enables the party to lead the people to govern the country effectively and in accordance with the law. We can draw on the political achievements of other societies, but we should never copy any Western political system. Sixth, we must modernize our system and capacity for governance. The People's Congress system is an important component of the system of socialism with Chinese characteristics and of China's system of governance. We must uphold and improve the institutional framework under which the people run the country. We should continue to improve the institutions, standards, and procedures of socialist democracy and translate our institutional strengths into effective governance. The world today is undergoing change on a scale unseen in a century. Competition, in terms of systems, is an important aspect of competition in composite national strength, and a well-founded system enables a country to seize the strategic initiative. History and our experience have shown that a country cannot remain stable and strong without a strong system. At its 18th and 19th National Congresses, the party created overall plans for strengthening the system of people's congresses and for improving the work of people's congresses. On our new journey towards a modern socialist country in all respects, we must firmly uphold the People's Congress system while improving it in pace with the times so as to strengthen and improve the work of People's Congresses in the new era. First, we should ensure the full implementation of the Constitution and safeguard its authority and sanctity. Ancient Chinese believed that the law is the scale of a state and the ethical benchmark for a society. Footnote 1. Wu Jing, Governance of the Jingguan Period, Jingguan Zhongyao. Wu Jing, 670 to 749, was a historian and official of the Tang Dynasty. End of footnote 1. As China's fundamental law, the Constitution embodies the concentrated will of the party and the people, and it has supreme legal status, supreme legal authority, and supreme legal effect. I have emphasized on many occasions that to uphold the authority of the Constitution is to uphold the authority of the common will of the party and the people. To safeguard the inviolability of the Constitution is to safeguard the inviolability of the common will of the party and the people, and to secure the implementation of the Constitution is to secure the fundamental interests of the people. All the people of China and all state agencies, armed forces, political parties, social organizations, enterprises, and public institutions must take the Constitution as their fundamental code of conduct, treat the Constitution as sacrosanct, and ensure its implementation. No organization or individual has the right to act beyond the Constitution and the law. Any act in violation of the Constitution and the law must be investigated and rectified. To ensure law-based governance of the country, we must first ensure governance based on the Constitution. To ensure law-based exercise of state power, we must first ensure exercise of state power based on the Constitution. To ensure Constitution-based national governance and exercise of state power, we must remain committed to upholding the leadership position of the CPC, upholding the People's Democratic Dictatorship as our state system, and upholding the People's Congress system as our system of state power, all of which are enshrined in our Constitution. Full implementation of the Constitution is the primary task in building our socialist country under the rule of law, and it is also essential for upholding and improving the People's Congress system. We must take the Constitution as our fundamental code of conduct and build a sound, effective, and complete institutional framework to ensure the implementation of the Constitution. We must reinforce constitutional oversight, promote the spirit of the Constitution, and safeguard the authority and sanctity of the Constitution. Our party leads the people in enacting and enforcing the Constitution and the law, and it must act within the scope of the Constitution and the law. People's Congresses, governments, supervision commissions, courts, and procuratoriates at all levels should work in strict accordance with the Constitution and the law and perform their duties in a proactive, independent, and coordinated manner. The National People's Congress, NPC, and its Standing Committee should improve the legal system pertaining to the Constitution and ensure that the system's principles and rules established by the Constitution are fully implemented. They should strengthen oversight and inspection of the implementation of the Constitution and the law, improve constitutionality review, and the recording and review of rules, regulations, and other normative documents, and resolutely correct constitutional and legal violations. They should implement procedures and mechanisms for constitutional interpretation and actively attend to concerns about constitutional issues. The NPC and its Standing Committee should improve the legal system under which the central government exercises overall jurisdiction over the special administrative regions in accordance with the Constitution and the region's basic laws, refine the region's systems and mechanisms related to the implementation of the Constitution and their basic laws, and maintain constitutional order and the rule of law in the regions as established by the Constitution and their basic laws. Local people's congresses at all levels and their standing committees must exercise their functions and powers in accordance with the law and ensure that the Constitution and the law are observed and implemented within their respective administrative regions, maintaining consistency in laws and regulations across the country. Second, we should improve the socialist legal system with Chinese characteristics, developing and ensuring good governance with sound laws. If good laws are established under heaven, then there will be order under heaven. If good laws are established in a state, then there will be order in that state. Footnote 2. Wang Anshi, the Duke of Zhou, Zhou Gong. End of footnote 2. A socialist legal system with Chinese characteristics has taken shape. This comes from the leadership of our party and the hard work of all quarters over the decades following the launch of reform and opening up in 1978. This is a remarkable achievement in the history of the rule of law. That said, we must be clear that the times are changing and practice is evolving, which calls for an improved legal system. Our legal system must improve in step with the times. We must strengthen the party's centralized, unified leadership over legislative work. We will improve the legislative framework under which party committees provide overall guidance, people's congresses play a leading role, governments offer support, and all parties concerned are involved. We should better align decision-making for reform and development with legislative decision-making and improve the rule of law through further reform while ensuring reform and innovation in all fields through improved rule of law so as to provide a legal basis for national development and major reforms. We must advance the rule of law in domestic and foreign affairs in a coordinated manner, balance development and security imperatives, and develop a system of laws for extraterritorial application. We must use legal means to meet challenges, forestall risks, and safeguard national sovereignty, security, and development interests. We should apply systems thinking and enact, revise, repeal, interpret, and codify laws in a coordinated way. We should also work towards an all-around improvement of state laws, administrative regulations, supervision regulations, and local regulations. As the national legislator, the NPC and its standing committee should speed up the pace of legislative work while ensuring quality. They should make legislation more systematic, integrated, and coordinated, and the legal system more complete, consistent, and authoritative. They should strengthen legislation concerning key and emerging sectors and China's overseas activities, with a focus on imbuing legislation with the core socialist values. They should work to improve laws and systems that are urgently needed in national governance and that are essential for meeting the people's growing expectation for a better life. Codification work should be continued in legislative areas where conditions are mature. Good laws are a prerequisite for good governance. An ancient Chinese philosopher said, "The law does not fall from the sky or grow from the earth, it manifests from among the people and reflects their will." Footnote 3. Shunzi. This is a book written by Shen Dao. Shen Dao, circa 395 to circa 315 BC, also known as Shunzi, was a scholar of the legalist school in the Warring States period. End of footnote 3. Focusing on improving the quality of legislation, the NPC and its standing committee should play their role as leaders in legislative work. They should follow objective laws, abide by the principle of serving the people and relying on them, and act in line with their statutory authority and procedures. As they advance law-based legislation that is more professional and democratic, they should adopt diverse forms of legislation and make it more targeted, applicable, and practicable. In order to secure the quality of regulations and rules, they must make sure that administrative regulations, supervision regulations, and departmental rules are formulated in strict accordance with their statutory authority and procedures. Local people's congresses with legislative powers must strictly remain within their scope of legislative power. They must enact local legislation with a focus on implementing the party central committees, major policies, decisions, and plans, and on solving practical problems. Third, people's congresses should fully exercise their powers granted by the Constitution and carry out appropriate, effective, and law-based oversight. The power of all state agencies and their staff is subject to oversight and checks. This is an important principle of the People's Congress system as well as a basic requirement of its institutional design. We should give better play to the important role of People's Congresses in the oversight of the party and the state to ensure that power is exercised under public oversight, in broad daylight, within an institutional cage, and under the reins of the rule of law. People's Congresses at all levels and their standing committees should make use of their oversight powers granted by the Constitution and the law, and exercise appropriate, effective, and law-based oversight. They should uphold the uniformity, sanctity, and authority of the law, and make sure that laws and regulations are effectively implemented, and that administrative, supervisory, adjudicatory, and prosecuting powers are properly exercised in accordance with the law. In our country's political system, People's Congresses play the role of overseeing the work of governments, supervision commissions, courts, and procurators at the same level, and they coordinate the work of all state agencies to create synergies. People's Congresses should concentrate on pursuing their central task, serving the overall national interests, giving priority to key areas, focusing on the decisions and plans of the party central committee, and delivering on the people's aspirations and expectations. They should work hard to facilitate the resolution of prominent issues and problems that hinder economic and social development. They should employ various statutory oversight methods, strengthen oversight of the implementation of laws and regulations, and ensure that all state agencies perform their duties and functions within the scope stipulated by the Constitution and the law. We should improve the system of oversight by people's congresses and develop sound mechanisms and methods for their oversight of law enforcement and judicial work. Governments, supervision commissions, courts, and procuratorate at all levels must strictly implement the laws, regulations, resolutions, and decisions made by people's congresses and their standing committees at the same level, report on their work in accordance with the law, and readily accept oversight from people's congresses. Fourth, people's congresses should give full play to the role of their deputies and see that deputies respond to the calls of the people. Conforming to the will of the people is the key to governance. Footnote 4, Chengyi, a reply to an imperial edict in the name of Lu Huishu, Dai Lu Huishu Ying Zhao Shu. Chengyi, 1033 to 1107, was a philosopher and educator of the northern Song dynasty. End of footnote 4. The key to the great vitality and strengths of the People's Congress system lies in the fact that it is deeply rooted in the people. All state agencies and their staff must foster a strong sense of service to the people, put the people above all else, maintain close ties with them, listen to their opinions and suggestions, accept their oversight, and work hard to serve them. People's Congresses should ensure that their deputies reach out to the public on a greater variety of issues and in more diversified ways, broaden their channels of contact, actively respond to public concerns, better engage with the people, gain a good knowledge of their conditions, gather their ideas, and improve their well-being. Standing committees of People's Congresses at all levels should build up deputies' capacity to do their job and provide support and safeguards for them to fulfill their duties in accordance with the law and showcase their role in manifesting the people's principal status as masters of the country. Shouldering the honorable duties entrusted by the people, deputies to People's Congresses should faithfully represent the will and interests of the people and participate in the exercise of state power in accordance with the law. Deputies should maintain a firm political stance, fulfill their political responsibilities, improve their thinking and conduct, set a good example in abiding by the Constitution and the law, and act with political acumen. They should use their distinctive strengths of coming from among the people and being rooted in the people, forge closer ties with them, and serve as a bridge through which the party and the government maintain contact with the people. They should do their best to mobilize positive factors and mitigate negative ones and conduct themselves in ways that befit their role as People's Congress deputies in the new era. Fifth, People's Congresses should be clearly aware of their identity as political institutions and intensify self-improvement. People's Congresses and their standing committees at all levels must be deeply conscious of the need to maintain political commitment, think in terms of the general picture, follow the core leadership of the CPC Central Committee, and act in accordance with its requirements. They must stay confident in the path, theory, system, and culture of socialism with Chinese characteristics, uphold the core position of the General Secretary on the CPC Central Committee and in the party as a whole, and uphold the authority of the Central Committee and its centralized unified leadership. They must continuously strengthen their political acumen, understanding, and capacity to deliver. They should improve themselves in all respects and always serve as political institutions that conscientiously uphold party leadership and ensure the running of the country by the people as working institutions that fully perform duties and functions conferred by the Constitution and the law, and as representative institutions that always maintain close ties with the people. People's Congresses should improve the composition of their standing committees and special committees and build work teams that are politically committed, willingly serve the people, hold the rule of law in awe, promote democracy, and work with diligence and a strong sense of responsibility. They should strengthen discipline, improve conduct, perform statutory duties, follow statutory procedures, and guard against favoring form over substance and excessive bureaucracy, so as to make their work more effective. Sixth, we should strengthen the party's overall leadership over the work of People's Congresses. The People's Congress system is an important institutional vehicle for the party to exercise leadership over agencies of state power, and it is also an important medium through which the party fully promotes democracy and implements its mass line in the exercise of state power. Party committees at all levels should give priority to the work of People's Congresses, improve the systems of party leadership over the work of People's Congresses, hear work reports from party leadership groups of People's Congress, standing committees on a regular basis, and study and resolve major issues in the work of People's Congresses. We should support People's Congresses and their standing committees in performing duties and exercising powers in accordance with the law. We should guide and urge governments, supervision commissions, courts, and procuratoriates to readily accept the oversight of People's Congresses. We should strengthen the leadership teams of People's Congresses, standing committees, and the work teams of People's Congresses, and promote job rotation between People's Congresses, party and government departments, and judicial offices. The party's organization, communication, and other departments at all levels should coordinate and cooperate with relevant departments of People's Congresses to create powerful synergies for advancing the work of People's Congresses in the new era. Party leadership groups of People's Congress standing committees at all levels should earnestly implement the systems of party leadership and ensure that they fulfill their principal responsibilities for full and strict party self-governance. Whole process people's democracy, the most extensive, genuine, and effective socialist democracy. Part of the speech at the Central Conference on the work of People's Congresses. October 13th, 2021. Democracy is a shared human value and an ideal that has always been cherished by the CPC and the Chinese people. To translate the concepts and values of democracy into effective institutions and concrete actions, we need to adopt appropriate systems, mechanisms, ways, and means. To do this, we have to combine theory and practice, form and content, past experience, and current reality. As I have said, the best way to evaluate whether a country's political system is democratic and effective is to observe whether the succession of its leaders is orderly and law-based, whether the people can manage state and social affairs and economic and cultural undertakings in accordance with the law, whether the public can express their needs through open channels, whether all sectors of society can effectively participate in the country's political affairs, whether the country's decision-making can be conducted in a rational and democratic manner, whether people in all sectors can enter the state leadership and administrative systems by way of fair competition, whether the governing party can lead state affairs in accordance with the Constitution and the law, and whether the exercise of power is subject to effective checks and oversights. Democracy is not an ornament to be put on display, but an instrument for addressing the issues that concern the people. Whether a country is democratic depends on whether its people are truly the masters of the country, and whether the people have the right to vote and, more importantly, the right to participate extensively in governance of the country. It depends on what promises they are given during elections, and more importantly, how many of these promises are delivered after elections. It depends on what kind of political procedures and rules are set through state systems and laws, and more importantly, whether these systems and laws are truly enforced. It depends on whether the rules and procedures for the exercise of power are democratic, and more importantly, whether the exercise of power is genuinely subject to public oversight and checks. If the people are only addressed in order to solicit votes and then are left out in the cold, if they must listen to grandiose election slogans, but have no voice when the elections are over, or if they are wooed by candidates during election campaigns only to be cast aside afterwards, this is not true democracy. In sum, democracy is the right of the people of all countries, not the prerogative of a few nations. Whether a country is democratic should be judged by its own people, not by a handful of meddlesome outsiders. In the international community, whether a country is democratic should be judged by community consensus, not by a few self-appointed judges. There is no uniform or single model of democracy. It comes in many forms. It is undemocratic in itself to measure the world's diverse political systems against a single criterion, or to view the colorful political civilizations of humanity from a single perspective. The Communist Party of China has always upheld people's democracy and has always adhered to the following basic ideas. First, people's democracy is the lifeblood of socialism. Without democracy, there would be no socialism, socialist modernization, or national rejuvenation. Second, the running of the country by the people is the essence and heart of socialist democracy. The very purpose of developing socialist democracy is to give full expression to the will of the people, protect their rights and interests, spark their creativity, and provide an institutional framework to ensure that the people are the masters of the country. Third, the Chinese socialist path of political development is the right path, as it conforms to China's national conditions and secures the position of the people as masters of the country. It is the logical outcome of history, theory, and practice. Based on the strenuous efforts of the Chinese people since the 1840s, it is a requisite for maintaining the very nature of our party and fulfilling its fundamental mission. Fourth, China's socialist democracy takes two important forms. One, the people exercise rights by means of elections and voting. And two, people from all sectors of society are consulted extensively in order to reach the widest possible consensus on matters of common concern before major decisions are made. These are the institutional features and strengths of China's socialist democracy. Fifth, the key to developing China's socialist democracy is to fully leverage its features and strengths. As we continue to advance socialist democracy with soundly designed institutions, standards, and procedures, we can provide better institutional safeguards for our party and country's prosperity and long-term stability. Deng Xiaoping once said, "The democracy in capitalist societies is bourgeois democracy. In fact, it is the democracy of monopoly capitalists. It is no more than a system of multi-party elections, separation of judicial, executive, and legislative powers, and a bicameral legislature. Ours is the system of the people's congresses and people's democracy under the leadership of the Communist Party. We cannot adopt the practice of the West. The greatest advantage of the socialist system is that when the central leadership makes a decision, it is promptly implemented without interference from any other quarters." Footnote 1. Deng Xiaoping, We Shall Speed Up Reform. Selected Works of Deng Xiaoping, Volume 3, English Edition, Foreign Languages Press, Beijing, 1994, pages 237 to 238. End of footnote 1. Since its 18th National Congress in 2012, our party has advanced whole process, people's democracy, as a key concept on the basis of a profound understanding of the rules governing the development of democracy. Whole process people's democracy in China is a complete system with supporting mechanisms and procedures and fully fledged civil participation. China's state system is the system under the people's democratic dictatorship led by the working class and based on the alliance of workers and farmers. Its system of state power is the system of people's congresses, and its basic political systems include the system of multi-party cooperation and political consultation under the leadership of the CPC, the system of regional ethnic autonomy, and the system of community-level self-governance. Building on these systems, China has consolidated and developed the broadest possible patriotic united front. It has formed a comprehensive, extensive, and well-coordinated set of institutions that make it possible for the people to be genuine masters of our country, and it has put in place diverse, open channels for people to practice democracy in an orderly manner. This allows all the people to engage in law-based democratic elections, consultations, decision-making, management, and oversight, and to manage state economic, cultural, and social affairs in various ways and forms in accordance with the law. Whole process people's democracy in China integrates process-oriented democracy with results-oriented democracy, procedural democracy with substantive democracy, direct democracy with indirect democracy, and people's democracy with the will of the state. It is a democracy that covers all aspects of the democratic process, and all sectors of society. It is the broadest, most genuine, and most effective socialist democracy. We should continue to advance whole process, people's democracy, so that, in concrete and tangible ways, the principle of the people as masters of the country is reflected in our party's governance policies and measures, in all aspects, and at all levels of the work of party and state agencies, and in our efforts to realize the people's aspirations for a better life. The People's Congress system is an important institutional vehicle for realizing whole process people's democracy in China. Under CPC leadership, we should continue to expand orderly political participation by the people, strengthen legal protection for human rights, and ensure that the people enjoy extensive rights and freedoms as prescribed by law. We should ensure that the people can exercise their lawful right to elect People's Congress deputies through democratic elections, that the people's rights to information, participation, expression, and oversight are implemented in every aspect of the work of People's Congresses, and that the people's voice can be heard at every step in the process of making, executing, and scrutinizing the decisions of the party and the state. We should improve the outreach platforms and vehicles of People's Congresses through which the general public can express opinions. We should refine working mechanisms for soliciting public comments and collecting ideas from the people. And we should advance consultation through People's Congresses and consultation on legislative issues, in an effort to protect the fundamental interests of the people by taking into account all aspects of social conditions and public sentiment. We should reinforce our study and public promotion of Chinese socialist democracy and the People's Congress system, elucidate the features and strengths of China's political system, and share our story of democracy. Upholding and improving the People's Congress system is the common responsibility of the whole of the party and society. The party and the entire Chinese nation should stay confident in the system of socialism with Chinese characteristics, continue to uphold and improve the People's Congress system, continue to consolidate and enhance political vitality, stability, and unity, and contribute China's wisdom to political progress for all. Religions in China should conform to China's realities. Main points of the speech at the National Conference on Religious Affairs, December 3rd, 2021. We should fully implement the party's theory on religious affairs in the new era, and its basic policies on religious affairs and freedom of religious belief. Religions in China should conform to China's realities, and we should guide religions to be compatible with socialist society. We should help religious groups strengthen their self-management. We should improve the law-based management of religious affairs and bring about new advances in our religious work. We should encourage religious believers to join in the national endeavor to develop China into a great modern socialist country in all respects and realize the Chinese dream of national rejuvenation. The Party Central Committee has attached great importance to religious affairs since the 18th CPC National Congress in 2012. Party committees at all levels have implemented the decisions of the Central Committee and performed well in managing religious affairs. Our party's basic policy on religious affairs has been fully implemented. The relevant systems and mechanisms have been further improved. The related legal and policy framework has been strengthened, and both religious leaders and believers are increasingly aware of the need to learn, respect, observe, and apply the law. Religions in China have thus become more compatible with China's realities. Religious groups are patriotic and value our national interests. They respect the law and science and care about public well-being. They are committed to China, the Chinese nation, and the Chinese culture, and they support the CPC and socialism with Chinese characteristics. The Central Committee has put forward a set of new guidelines and measures on religious work since 2012. It has answered major theoretical and practical questions on how to view religion, how to deal with religious issues, and how to properly handle religious affairs in the new era. We must have a keen understanding of the importance of religious affairs in the work of the party and the state, strengthen leadership, continue to practice and develop a socialist theory on religion with Chinese characteristics, and follow the party's basic policy on religious affairs. We must act on the principle that religions in China should conform to China's realities, rally all religious believers around the party and the government, foster positive and healthy relations among religions, support religious groups in self-improvement, and strengthen the law-based management of religious affairs. We should fully, accurately, and faithfully implement the party's policy on freedom of religious belief, respect people's religious beliefs, manage religious affairs in accordance with the law, adhere to the principle of religious groups managing their own affairs independently, and to see to it that religion is compatible with socialist society. The party's work related to religious affairs calls for engaging with the people. Both religious believers and non-believers share our fundamental political and economic interests, and both are the public foundation of our party's governance. We should respect believers' freedom of religious belief, do all we can to stay engaged with them, and patiently address their concerns. Religious groups serve as a bridge between the party and the government and religious leaders and believers. We should support them and help them in their operation. We should respect them and see that they play their role in managing their own affairs. We should make sure that religions in China conform to China's realities and observe the core socialist values. We should encourage religious leaders and believers to remain committed to our country, the Chinese nation, and the Chinese culture, and to support the CPC and socialism with Chinese characteristics. We should carry out activities in the religious community to strengthen its commitment to patriotism, collectivism, and socialism, and help religious believers to learn more about the history of the CPC, the PRC, reform and opening up, and the development of socialism. Religious leaders and believers should be guided to cultivate and apply the core socialist values and esteem Chinese culture. We should uphold a holistic approach to national security and the principle of religious groups managing their own affairs independently, and carry out related work accordingly. We should strengthen the management of religious affairs online, and effectively address major problems that impair the healthy development of religion in China. We should support and guide the religious community to improve its self-education, self-management, and self-discipline. The religious community should exercise full and strict self-management. It should take the lead in abiding by China's laws and regulations, and urge believers to practice self-cultivation in order to achieve greater attainment. Religious organizations should improve themselves and strengthen democratic oversight over members of their leadership. We should promote law-based management of religious affairs in all respects and carry out an extensive program to raise awareness of the law. Religious activities should be conducted within the scope prescribed by China's laws and regulations. Such activities should not impair the health of citizens, disrupt public order, erode moral values, or interfere with educational, judicial, and government affairs as well as public life. We should train party and government officials engaged in religious work so that they will have a good command of the Marxist view on religion, have a good knowledge of religious affairs, and be able to communicate effectively with religious believers. These officials should study the Marxist view on religion, the party's theory and policies on religious affairs, and increase their knowledge on religion so as to raise their capacity to provide guidance. We should see that religious leaders are politically reliable, excel in religious teachings, have morals and integrity, and respond to challenges at critical times. We should see that those who conduct research on religion have a firm belief in the Marxist view on religion, maintain academic integrity, and are eager to explore new ground. And we should strengthen the discipline of Marxist studies on religion. We should improve the systems and mechanisms of religious work and create a model of religious affairs management featuring leadership by party committees, government management, public participation, and self-discipline. We should properly handle major issues involving religious affairs, lay solid foundations, and make continued efforts to deliver long-term benefits. Ensure long-term multi-party cooperation led by the CPC. Main points of the speech when celebrating the Spring Festival with prominent non-CPC individuals, January 29th, 2022. This year, the CPC will hold its 20th National Congress, which is a major political event for the party and the country. All our work will be planned and carried out in preparation for the Congress to ensure its success and implement its guiding principles. We must uphold and improve the system of CPC-led multi-party cooperation and political consultation, consolidate and develop the broadest possible patriotic united front, promote whole process people's democracy, strive to achieve great unity and solidarity, and pool as much strength as possible for our collective endeavors. I hope you will hold to the right political direction and keep in line with the CPC Central Committee in thinking, action, and political commitment. Through in-depth research, you will be able to offer constructive advice and proposals so as to make consultation among the political parties more effective. It is important to guide members of your organizations effectively in terms of political thinking and understanding, improve their ability to discern between right and wrong, and ensure that they take a firm stance and build and pass on positivity. This year, the other 8 political parties and the All-China Federation of Industry and Commerce will elect new leaderships at the central and provincial levels. It is necessary to ensure a smooth transition of leadership, consolidate consensus, and carry forward the great tradition of multi-party cooperation underpinned by patriotism, dedication, earnest cooperation, devotion to the people, and working together with the CPC with one heart. You should pass on your predecessors' political convictions, upright conduct, and close bond with the CPC to ensure that CPC-led multi-party cooperation is sustained through generations. A sound approach should be applied to appointing officials with high standards for candidates in terms of political reliability and incorruptibility. By scrutinizing their ideals and beliefs, political quality, and moral character, you can be sure that those you select are trustworthy and responsible and enjoy popular support. Speaking to the political parties, I hope you will stick to your goals and principles for participating in state governance. It is vital to increase your ability to understand the political landscape, participate in the deliberation and administration of state affairs, exercise leadership, cooperate with others, address your own problems, and achieve new successes. It is crucial to update your theoretical and political training and make it more targeted and effective to consolidate the foundations of our concerted efforts. You can improve your institutions by turning successful experiences and practices into rules and norms. You can conduct in-depth theoretical research, review your experience gained as political parties participating in state governance, and turn your insights into institutional practices. The All-China Federation of Industry and Commerce should strengthen its grassroots organizations, reform and build up its chambers of commerce, and improve its services to promote healthy growth of the non-public sector of the economy, help those working in this sector to achieve success, and raise the quality and efficiency of the work of the Federation. Follow the Chinese path of comprehensive progress in human rights. Main points of the speech at the 37th Group Study Session of the Political Bureau of the 19th CPC Central Committee, February 25, 2022. Throughout its century-old history, the CPC has led the people in a tireless effort to realize, respect, and protect, and develop human rights. At a time when China has embarked on a new journey towards socialist modernization in all respects, as described in the second centenary goal to be realized in 2049, we must fully appreciate the importance and urgency of promoting human rights, attach greater importance to respecting and protecting human rights, and adhere to the Chinese path in this cause to deliver better results. Respecting and protecting human rights is an ongoing quest of China's communists. Since its founding in 1921, the CPC has always committed itself to national salvation, democracy, and human rights in China. In successive periods of history, from the new democratic revolution through socialist revolution and construction to reform and opening up and socialist modernization, the CPC has never deviated from its original aspiration and founding mission to seek happiness for the Chinese people and to revitalize the Chinese nation. The party has led the people to resounding victories in revolution, construction, and reform. Today, the people of China have become the masters of our own country, our society, and our future. Our rights to subsistence and development and other basic rights are well protected and keep progressing. Since the 18th CPC National Congress in 2012, the party has prioritized human rights as an important aspect of national governance and achieved historic progress. We have realized the first centenary goal of building a moderately prosperous society in all respects, and for the first time eliminated extreme poverty, laying a more solid material foundation for advancing human rights in our country. To ensure that our people enjoy fuller and more extensive democratic rights, we have put in place whole process people's democracy and legal protection for human rights and defended social fairness and justice. We have promoted fuller and higher quality employment, established the world's largest education, social security, and healthcare systems, and remarkably improved the living environment of our people. Under the principle that nothing is more precious than people's lives, we have effectively responded to the COVID-19 pandemic and protected lives and health to the largest extent. We have fully implemented the party's policies on ethnic affairs and religion, maintaining that all ethnic groups are equal, respecting all religious beliefs, and protecting the lawful rights and interests of all ethnic groups. We have continued reform of the judicial system, launched the Peaceful China Initiative, strengthened the rule of law, carried out educational and rectification campaigns among judicial, prosecuting, and public security agencies in a bid to improve their conduct, and taken resolute action against criminal gangs and organized crime and illegal and criminal activities to ensure lasting social stability and protect lives and property. China is the only major country that has formulated and implemented 4 successive national human rights action plans. We have taken an active part in global governance on human rights and contributed Chinese solutions to worldwide progress in human rights. In promoting human rights in China, we have integrated the Marxist outlook with China's actual conditions and traditional culture, reviewed the successful experience of our party in respecting and protecting human rights, and learned from the outstanding achievements of other civilizations. This has enabled us to chart a course of human rights protection that follows the tide of the times and suits China's realities. In this process, we have adopted the following 6 principles. First, uphold the leadership of the CPC. It is the CPC and the socialist system that have defined the socialist nature of human rights in China and ensured the status of the people as masters of the country. On this basis, we are able to ensure that all our people enjoy human rights equally, promote comprehensive progress in all categories of human rights, and realize, protect, and develop the fundamental interests of the greatest possible number of the people. Second, respect and ensure the principal status of the people, for the people is the distinguishing feature of the Chinese path of human rights protection. We safeguard the people's democratic rights, stimulate their enthusiasm, initiative, and creativity, and enable them to become the dominant participants in, contributors to, and beneficiaries of our progress in human rights. We have made concrete efforts to promote the well-rounded development of the individual and to achieve substantial progress in common prosperity. Third, proceed from China's realities. We have applied the principle of universality of human rights in the context of our national conditions, propelled progress in accordance with the people's demands, and ensured that they enjoy full, extensive, genuine, concrete, and effective human rights in accordance with the law. Fourth, focus on basic human rights, primarily the rights to subsistence and development. Subsistence is the foundation of all human rights. Living a life of contentment is the ultimate human right. We have implemented the new development philosophy in full, to the letter, and in all fields. We have adopted the vision of people-centered development, upholding the principle that development is for the people and by the people, and the people share the benefits. We have stepped up efforts to achieve higher quality development that is more efficient, equitable, sustainable, and secure. During the process, we have striven to give the people a greater and more sustainable sense of gain, fulfillment, and security. Fifth, protect human rights in accordance with the law. Under the principle that everyone is equal before the law, we have strengthened human rights protection throughout the process of legislation, judicature, enforcement, and observance of the law. We have accelerated improvement of the legal system featuring equal rights, equal opportunities, and fair rules for all. We have protected the citizens' personal rights, property rights, and right to dignity, their basic political rights to engage in democratic elections, consultations, decision-making, management, and oversight, and their economic, cultural, social, and environmental rights. We have made consistent efforts to strengthen legal protections for human rights. Sixth, take an active part in global governance on human rights. We have championed the common values of humanity, practiced multilateralism in the real sense, participated in reforming and developing the global governance system on issues including human rights, and contributed to building a global community of shared future. The above 6 principles drawn from our practical experience are the defining features of China's human rights protection. We must do a better job in implementing these principles in the future. We will promote comprehensive progress in human rights, follow the Chinese path, in advancing this cause, respond to the people's expectation for a better, higher quality life, and meet their growing demand for rights in all respects. We will ensure coordinated development of the economy, democracy, the rule of law, ethics, culture, fairness, justice, social governance, and environmental protection. We will ensure all-round improvements in employment, income distribution, education, social security, healthcare, housing, old age care, and child care. We will strengthen human rights protection in the process of advancing material, political, cultural, ethical, social, and eco-environmental progress. We will strengthen legal protection for human rights and further the reform of related legal institutions. We will provide legal guarantees that cover the whole process, every length and in every dimension of human rights protection, including legislation, judicature, enforcement, and observance of the law, so that the people can see that justice is served in every law enforcement action, and every judicial case. We will systematically address legal issues of major concern to the public, handle their appeals equitably, in accordance with the law, and eliminate acts of judicial injustice that fail the people and damage their interests. We will, in strict accordance with the law and party discipline, investigate and punish any act infringing upon the legitimate rights of the people and any act against public interests, and hold the perpetrators accountable. We will promote our understanding of human rights, carry out an extensive educational campaign among the people to raise their awareness, and create a healthy atmosphere of respecting and protecting human rights. We will disseminate information on human rights, particularly among young people, and incorporate both the Marxist perspective and the Chinese outlook on human rights into the national education system. We will strengthen training in human rights for public servants, particularly those at the grassroots. We will leverage the strengths of people's organizations in protecting the rights and interests of specific groups, such as women, children, the elderly, and people with disabilities. We will extract original ideas from our experience in advancing human rights and develop systems of academic research, disciplines, and discourse. We will establish and improve think tanks and research centers on human rights protection and train human rights professionals who are proficient in theory, strong in academic research, familiar with international rules, and skilled in international communication. We will contribute to global governance on human rights, advocating the common values of humanity and embracing the principles of equality, mutual trust, inclusiveness, mutual learning, win-win cooperation, and common development. The aim is to promote greater fairness, justice, reason, and inclusivity in global governance on human rights. We will take an active part in UN human rights affairs, carry out extensive exchanges and cooperation with other countries, particularly developing countries, on human rights protection, and play a constructive role in this cause. Human rights are concrete, rooted in history, and based on current realities. We cannot mouth empty words on human rights, regardless of the social and political conditions and the historical and cultural traditions of a country. In evaluating the status of human rights in a given country, one cannot apply the standards of other countries. Adopting double standards or using human rights as a political tool to interfere in the internal affairs of other countries is even more unacceptable. We must be proactive in telling China's stories of human rights protection with concrete examples, and present our ideas in a more engaging way to influence more people. Party committees and party leadership groups at all levels must take on their responsibilities for promoting human rights, strengthen leadership, and take active measures to effectively implement China's National Human Rights Action Plan. Officials at all levels, particularly leading officials, must conscientiously study both the Marxist perspective and the Chinese outlook on human rights, strive to better understand the concept of human rights, build our confidence, and do a still better job in respecting and protecting human rights. All provincial authorities, central departments, and sectors of society must raise their awareness of respecting and safeguarding human rights and forge a synergy in advancing this cause. Give of your best in national rejuvenation. Part of the speech at a meeting marking the centenary of the Communist Youth League of China. May 10th, 2022. Realizing the Chinese dream of national rejuvenation is a relay race through time in which you young people should give of your best in running your leg. Young people have always been entrusted with historic responsibilities. For China's youth in the new era, the timing is ideal to do great things, since you have a vast stage to display your talents and brighter prospects than ever before of realizing your dreams. At the ceremony marking the centenary of the Communist Party of China on July 1st, 2021, representatives from the Communist Youth League and the Young Pioneers declared their commitment to building a strong country. This is what is expected of China's youth in the new era. A commitment that must be shared by all members of the party's youth organizations. On the new journey ahead, there is a major topic that needs to be addressed by China's youth movement and in work relating to youth, how to better unite, organize, and mobilize young people in the nation's endeavor to achieve the second centenary goal and realize the Chinese dream. The Communist Youth League must reinforce its leadership, organization, and services, unite its members and other young people, and help them grow into models of the new era who have ideals, the courage to assume responsibilities, the stamina to endure hardship, and the resolve to work hard. In this way, young people will add to the momentum for national rejuvenation with their energy and creativity, and build a better China with their ingenuity and perseverance. Here I would like to share some of my expectations of the Youth League. First, I hope that the Youth League will continue to prepare the young people for the cause of the party and remain a school that helps youth raise their political awareness. Only those who aim high will scale the heights and look afar, and only those with a global vision will achieve great things. In the prime of youth, you need to have lofty ideals and convictions. By including the word communist in the name of the Youth League, the party hopes that its youth organization will always occupy the high ground of ideals and beliefs, equip young people with the party's theories, inspire them with the party's original aspiration and founding mission, guide them forward under the party's glorious banner, and shape them with the party's fine conduct. Young Chinese in the new era are more confident and capable of self-improvement and think more critically. But when you come under the influence of diverse ideas, it is inevitable that you may become confused about matters such as ideals and reality, doctrines and practical issues, egoism and altruism, personal interests and the common good in China and the world. More pertinent, meticulous education and guidance are needed to help young people observe society with a keen eye, think about life with a sober mind, and create the future through your wisdom. The Youth League is a school for young people to learn through practice about socialism with Chinese characteristics and about communism. It should help you to set lofty goals at an early age and to build trust in the party, confidence in Chinese socialism, and faith in Marxism through political and theoretical education adopted to the nature and character of young people. The Youth League should be guided by a vitally important goal, making sure that the cause of our party is carried forward from generation to generation. It should focus on the fundamental task of preparing our youth to contribute to and carry forward the socialist cause. It should help our young people to become more assured, proud, and confident in their identity as Chinese by tempering themselves in both thought and deed, so that the cause of the party will be carried on for generations to come. Second, I hope that the Youth League will fulfill its responsibilities and remain a vanguard in organizing China's youth to march forward into the future. Hard work paints a bright backdrop for a young life, and action is the best way for young people to hone their skills. Taking on responsibilities and showing commitment are what brighten the years of one's youth. Young people are always pioneers who are most passionate about innovation and are most motivated to innovate. The cause of the party and the people would not have advanced without the endeavor and dedication of generations of young aspirants. Only when you people align your passion and vigor with the cause of the party and the people can you display your brilliance and apply your energy to the full. Young people are the most vigorous and enterprising and the least conservative group in society who possess endless power to change the world and society for the better. The Youth League should unite its members and other young people and lead them in driving the new era. Young people should heed the call of the party and the people, bear in mind the country's most fundamental interests, and fulfill your missions. Set your goals, distinguish yourselves, and be successful in the new era. Pursue the great ideals and drive the great cause. Your hard work should be invested where the party and the people need it most. Third, I hope that the Youth League will attend to the interests of China's youth and remain the strongest bond between them and the party. The Youth League is the people's organization under the leadership of our party, as well as an organization that belongs to the young. The greatest strength of the organization lies in its extensive network at the grassroots that allows it to stay close to young people. It should focus on its central task of serving young people and carry out its political duty of consolidating and expanding their support for the party's governance. It should be a go-between, letting the party know young people's aspirations and communicating the party's concern and support for young people. The Youth League should make every effort to benefit young people, solve their difficulties, think from their perspective, respond to their concerns, and to make full use of the resources and channels provided by the party to offer them tangible support. In this way, China's youth will genuinely feel that the party is always close by and ready to help. Fourth, I hope that the Youth League has the courage to reform itself and remain a progressive organization that closely follows the party and stays at the forefront of the times. The Youth League must answer two major questions of fundamental importance. What kind of organization should it be, and how should it become that organization? A fixed system is not able to respond to myriad changes. A single road will not lead to multiple destinations, and a sword lost in a river will not be found by leaving a mark on the boat. Footnote 1. Ge Hong, the master who embraces simplicity, Bao Pu Zi. Ge Hong, circa 281 to 341, also known as Bao Pu Zi, was an official of the Eastern Han Dynasty. End of footnote 1. Only through bold self-reform can the Youth League keep pace with the times, with young people's development, and with innovative trends. The Youth League should ensure the party's overall leadership throughout the process of its work in all areas, follow the Chinese socialist path of developing people's organizations, and focus on the goal of maintaining and strengthening its political commitment, its pioneering nature and its connection with the people and continue its self-reform. It should develop a keen understanding of young people and, in the context of the evolving patterns of their work and life, explore new approaches and models for its grassroots organizations. It should lead youth and student federations in promoting patriotism and socialism, and continue to consolidate and expand the patriotic united front among the young. The Youth League should also learn from the party's experience and best practices in strict self-governance and apply them to its own self-improvement. It should do so in a strict, rigorous, and practical manner, and in a spirit of reform and innovation, through comprehensive self-improvement and setting high standards. The Youth League will always be an enterprising organization that reflects the spirit of the times. There is a line in an ancient Chinese poem: "One must experience everything in life for oneself. Every step counts on the path to a wider world." Footnote 2, Fan Peng, the Wang clan's Neng Yuan Tower, Wang Shi Neng Yuan Lo. Fan Peng, 1272 to 1330, was a poet and official of the Yuan dynasty. End of footnote 2. Striving for progress is the most precious characteristic of youth and also what our party and the people expect of you most. In the new era, Youth League members should be role models in upholding lofty ideals and firm beliefs. Take the lead in studying Marxist theory. Remain committed to communism as your ultimate ideal and socialism with Chinese characteristics as your shared mission. Conscientiously practice the core socialist values and always love your country. Play an exemplary role in attentive study and bold innovation. Commit to your profession to improve your abilities and strive for excellence, and to try your best to become reliable workers and pioneers of your trade. You should be brave and adept in confronting adversity. Lead the way in rising to challenges and tackling tough problems, and stand up for yourselves in the face of pressure, danger, or threat. Be models of diligence and dedication. Stand on the side of the people. Be realistic, pragmatic, and down to earth. Be the first to accept hardship and the last to seek comfort, and be willing to forego the limelight in your work. Set an example in pursuing virtue, observing a strict code of conduct, and upholding political integrity and public and personal morals. Abide by discipline and the law. Fulfill your obligations as members of the Youth League. All League members should receive political training. Strive to increase your political awareness and be tempered by political experience. On this basis, you should draw closer to party organizations, set it as your goal to become a qualified party member, and to take pride in achieving that goal. For many years, office bearers of the Youth League have carried forward fine traditions, diligently performed your duties, and made a significant contribution to the party's work related to youth. Always maintain your loyalty and political commitment to the party, pursue noble ideals, and remain clear-minded and strong-hearted. Be like fresh air in the workplace, clean and upbeat. Consciously follow the mass line and firmly uphold the correct mass viewpoint. Maintain close ties with young people. Be their friends rather than their superiors, and work more for their benefit and less for yourselves. Develop a responsible and practical approach to work and walk the walk rather than talking the talk. You must be willing to work at the grassroots where conditions may be harsh, and have the courage to bear hardship, take on difficult tasks, shoulder heavy responsibilities, and even confront danger. Be clean, upright, honest, and hardworking. Cultivate your moral compass. Remain honest and self-disciplined, and think, speak, and act prudently. Build up your resolve, perseverance, and self-control. Be upright and righteous. Always bear the public good in mind, and remain untainted by malpractice. Revolutionaries are always full of vigor and vitality. Today, 100 years on from its founding, the CPC is still in its prime, and remains as determined as ever to achieve lasting greatness for the Chinese nation. Quoting Engels, Lenin once said, "We are the party of the future, and the future belongs to the youth. We are the party of innovators, and it is always the youth that most eagerly follows innovators. We are a party that is waging a self-sacrificing struggle against the old rottenness, and youth is always the first to undertake a self-sacrificing struggle." Footnote 3. V.I. Lenin, The Crisis of Menshevism. V.I. Lenin, Collected Works, Volume 11, English edition. Progress Publishers, Moscow, 1972, page 354. End of footnote 3. Both history and our experience show that the CPC is a political party that has always maintained its youthful energy, a party that is worthy of young people's trust, and a party that is worth following. On the quest to realize national rejuvenation, the party is the vanguard, the Youth League is the spearhead, and the Young Pioneers are the reserve force. Joining the Young Pioneers, the Youth League, and then the party makes up the trilogy of life for aspirational young people. The party has kept its gates open to all young people and will continue to welcome them to add fresh blood to the party. The Youth League must perform its political duty of guiding the young pioneers. It must standardize and strengthen the mechanism by which the pioneers recommend outstanding members to the League, and the League recommends outstanding members to the party. It must ensure a smooth process for developing members from the pioneers to the League and from the League to the party. Party organizations at all levels must attach great importance to the training and admission of outstanding young people, and should focus in particular on cultivating and admitting outstanding League members into the party, so as to ensure that our socialist country never changes its nature. One of the founders of the CPC, Li Dajiao, once said, "Young people are the soul of a country." Footnote 4. Li Dajiao, The Mission of the Morning Bell, Create a Youthful China, Collected Works of Li Dajiao, Volume 1, Chinese Edition, People's Publishing House, Beijing, 2013, 332-333, Li Dajiao, 1889-1927, was a pioneer in acquiring and disseminating Marxism and one of the founders of the CPC. End of footnote 4. The party's work relating to young people has been and always will be of strategic importance. Party committees and party leadership groups at all levels must invest great efforts in understanding the growth of young people and the times they have grown up in, devote great energy to work relating to young people, and serve wholeheartedly as their confidants and their guides. Party organizations at all levels must implement the systems and mechanisms for strengthening the Youth League as part of their effort to strengthen the party. They must study and resolve major issues regarding the League on a regular basis, attend to League office bearers, and set high expectations for them, and support the League in creatively carrying out its initiatives in accordance with the principles governing the development of people's organizations. End of Part 10. To hear all our audiobooks, especially those that aren't available on YouTube, become a Patreon supporter. It's the first link in the description below. Thank you for your support. To hear all our audiobooks, especially those that aren't available on YouTube, become a Patreon supporter. It's the first link in the description below. Thank you for your support.